Guys, just finalized what I think is going to be a real important part of the game, which is red zone. When you look at Utah and you look at their stats, particularly in that area, they've already been down there 56 times in 5 games, and really impressive 18 of 19 in field goals. They do a good job of putting points on the board, and that's been a Kyle Whittingham team. So we spent a little bit of extra time on that today. On the injury front, Daniel continued to work and look good. Chuma continued to work and is progressing good. We held Deontay for one more day to be able to see if we can get him a little bit more healthy. But besides that, pretty much status quo as of yesterday, about the same. So with that, I'll take any questions that you got.
What's their likelihood of playing those guys Saturday?
I think I'll talk to the doctors tomorrow with Daniel, but he's practiced very well this week. I don't know if he can go a full game, but I'm anticipating him contributing in some way this week. I think Chuma's got a very good chance. We're still 2 days out. He has practiced the last 2 days. He is a big man on the sore ankle. We'll see how that goes. And then just knowing Deontay, I don't think you could cut a leg off and he would still play. So we've been able to rest him for the last 2 days, and we've had to do that before with Woody and Marquise and Nelson. Those guys that are high rep guys, sometimes they need a break to be able to get them to the game. This is our 7th straight week, and he needs a little bit of a rest. So we did that. I anticipate those 3 guys helping in some way, shape, or form.
And is Stephen Carr out?
Stephen has not practiced this week. Do not anticipate him playing in this game.
Do you have a sense at this point of a target game that Porter might be able to return for?
I know that we're hoping it's a day-to-day thing. I'm hoping next week, if not the following week. I think it is getting closer. He is getting healthier. He is progressing extremely fast. Porter's always been a fast healer, and but there could be a good chance at Notre Dame. We'll just have to see next week.
The defense has given up 3 points all season after turnovers. Do you ever think of where you might be had that been a little different?
I don't want to think about it. I think they, I mentioned it the other day, they have a kind of a put the ball down mentality. It doesn't matter where you put it down at. It's their job to either get it back or make sure the team doesn't score. And they've been in some situations that have been on the plus side of the field and really have done a terrific job, as well as I credit Coach Bax and the field goal block team. I think they're putting tremendous pressure, whether it's Jack off the edge or whether it's interior pressure. That they have been really forcing kickers to get the ball off extremely quick and getting it high. And we've had some good luck and some good fortunes on some kickers missing some things, getting some blocks, and then also getting some turnovers by the defense, especially I think at Texas. I think last week versus Oregon State, inside the 10-yard line getting turnovers. So kind of bend but don't break, which has been great.
Is there any concern that you're living and dying a little bit too much on turnover so far?
No, I think that I think there's going to be a turn. We're in the second half of the season. I know that we've stressed it a bunch, and I know the guys are working extremely hard on whether it's punt catching, whether it's ball security. I will say I think our running backs are doing a phenomenal job, knock on wood right now, but I can't remember the last time a ball's been on the ground by a running back. So there are some good things going on with that. I think you always want to be on the plus end in each and every game. Our goal each week is to try to get 3 on defense and 1 or less offensively, and that's kind of the benchmark. If you're 1 or less offensively, and you go through the entire season like that, you're usually in the top 10 fewest turnovers. But our defense has been doing a great job of being able to help offensively out if we have had them one.
The recent history of your guys' series with Utah, the home team seems to always have an edge. 2014 and 16, they won. You guys have won the last couple home games. Why do you think that is, especially in this series?
I think of both stadiums. I think of both fan bases. I love the Coliseum, obviously. It's been a special place for our football team. It's a hard place to come into, one, because you're going to have 70, 80, 90,000 fans in there. And then, 2, you walk into that aura of that arena, that history that's behind it. And, I still get chill bumps when I walk down, and I've been there a bunch now, 8 years. But you walk on that field and it's 11 national championships. It's dang all the Heisman Trophy winners, all the first round draft picks. A World Series has been playing on that field. A NFL, a Super Bowl been playing on the field too. The Olympics, the ghosts that are there, just you feel them when you're walking down that tunnel. And then I think of Utah. Rice Eccles is a hard place to play. Probably as good a third down fan base as there is with the jump. It's two hard places to play, and I think both teams do a tremendous job of defending their own territory.
You've had some young guys that have gotten reps in a couple of games, and even like Michael Pittman, who didn't play early in the year, has played and gotten a lot more reps in practice. What are you seeing from those guys?
That's been the most positive thing I think of the last 6 weeks. Not only being where we're at, controlling our own destiny, but then the growth of our young people. I think about the number of freshmen and redshirt freshmen that are playing right now, first and second year players, and they're really growing and getting better by the day, by the second. I think it's really going to make us for a stronger team, not only in this second half of the season, but I really think the future's really bright with these kids. I think of Austin Jackson and Andrew Voorhees and Josh Fallow, Levi Jones, Bubba Bolden, those kids that are going out there and playing, second-year guys like Tyler Vaughn, Michael Pittman, those type of guys. They're just all of a sudden the lights come on for them. And they played very well last game. I expected the same through the second half.
You've talked about wanting to be able to run the ball really well and kind of setting things up. Is Utah a game where it's especially important just because they usually have a good defensive front?
And they load the box. This is a cover 1 football team, cover 3 football team. They're going to put one more down there than you have for blocking for. And they do a tremendous job with their big people up front. That's the reason before Stanford they were averaging, I think it was 89 yards a game. Their primary focus is to stop the run, and they put their DBs on islands, and so far they've held up extremely well. That's a big reason they only have 1 loss on the year, and that was a close one to Stanford.
The Utah game last year, right after that, is when you guys kind of took off. I know it's a different record going into this game this year, but what lessons do you take from that year that you could apply to the second half of this season?
I just remember in that game just seeing our team grow. And it reminds me a little bit of this year. I saw players getting better week in and week out, and that was our best game at that point in time. I walked off that field saying, "Wow, gosh almighty, these kids played extremely hard, very competitively. We made a couple mistakes that cost us a game in the last 16 seconds, but we're talented. They're fighting, and they're getting better each week." And that's what I see from this bunch. And that's what I've told them. I said, don't worry, we'll add up all the wins in the end. I even showed them the Clemson schedule from last year, and having a close loss versus Pittsburgh, and just instead of worrying about what's out there way on down the line, just worry about what it takes to win this week, and let's add them up all at the end. And that's kind of what we did last year. We sat there and we prepared each week like it was a playoff game, like it was a championship game, and we added those wins up at the end, and we look up and the season was over and we were in the Rose Bowl. I'm hoping for the same thing this year. We look up over these last 6 games, especially these last 5 Pac-12 South games, and we look up and hopefully we've won a Pac-12 South championship, and we're sitting there in San Fran on December 1st.
Has it been a little bit of a different challenge this year? Where last year, after the first 4 games, you kind of know you're out of the playoff hunt. This year, that's the expectation kind of stamped on you from the beginning. And is it a different challenge trying to keep guys focused on just the game instead of?
I think our guys have been extremely well trained as far as their preparation from week to week, and just worrying about this week's opponent and don't get caught up in what's next week or weeks down the line. I think that's how you win football games, and they've gotten into that mold. I think about the last 15 games, they're 14-1, and it's because of that mindset that they have literally blinders on and just worried about, okay, this is the opponent, this is what I got to do, this is the preparation, this is the attention to detail, and then as a coach, you hope it shows up on Saturday.